Bradfield's on the line. Morning, James.
Morning.
It's a little bit challenging, that, at first listen, with sort of dystopian lyric, with a sort of ABBA feel of the melody. Is that sort of contrast intentional?
I think it is, yeah. I mean, the song slightly predates coronavirus and lockdown. It was written just before that. So it isn't about that. It's about the kind of, I suppose, the confusing times that we live in, where Orwellian can be appropriated by the left or the right, where everybody seems to be able to attack each other, and the mess that we live in. And I suppose musically, it tries to laugh in the face, and the song tries to laugh in the face of times where everything is just so inward.
Yeah, I was watched the trailer for the new album that went up overnight, enigmatic as it is, a lovely piece of art in itself. But I detected hints of that lyrically, the album may be quite well informed by what's happened over the past 12 months. I detected, to talk of Etonians and all sorts of things in there, James.
Well, some of it, yeah. I mean, kind of. I don't know if we're a political band, but we're a very engaged band, and and we like having arguments about things that we see and feel, and we've always been like that. And when we grew up in the valleys, obviously we were writing about the economic struggles that Wales were going under, that were suffering, and now we write about the things that surround us now. And the album is called The Ultra Vivid Lament because I suppose in the face of everything that we've all been through, you have these conflicting emotions. You value the smaller things in life that you took for granted, but also you miss the big experiences that you once had that you also took for granted, whether that be going to the top of Tumbalin Mountain, near to where I was born, or whether that be going to Southern Down Beach, or whether I've been going to a different country or going to an airport. All those things that are so close but so out of reach were taken from us. And all the small things that you took for granted were right in front of your face every minute of the day. So I think, the album kind of lives between those extremes of emotions, definitely.
Yeah, and people too. I think people, we had to communicate in different ways. But I was speaking on a different programme here on BBC Radio to Dave Roden, sound engineer for the Stereophonics. He was talking about what a tricky year he's had and how many people see Kelly and the boys on stage, they'll see you, Nicky and Sean on stage, and they'll understand the predicament you're in, maybe won't understand the scale of what's behind you. And the family that's Manics, James. How have you looked after the Manics family this year?
Oh, you mean the people that are working around the band? Kind of thing?
Yeah.
There was one of the biggest the biggest casualties of the music industry are young musicians and crew members. So there are young bands that were getting momentum that just were cut off in their prime, so to speak. I know quite a lot of musicians that have just given up because they were making a living from gigs, not much money, but they were making some kind of living from it. So I really feel for younger musicians, especially bands that were just on that little brink of a breakthrough. And we got crew that we use pretty much all the time. And obviously, what they do is, they tour with us and then they jump off our tour and go with Paul Weller. And lots of other bands, and they've struggled particularly, and we've helped a lot of our crew, and a lot of other bands have helped their crew too, but that can only go on for so long because we're not a government, hopefully we'll play our gigs, some gigs this year, and hopefully that'll be an explosion for us. That'll be at a musical event, it'll be a cathartic experience, but more than anything, it will re-employ a lot of people. I think that's a really important factor that you've brought up, definitely.
Yeah, and buy the tickets and buy the records as well. Maybe this is a time as well not to simply stream. I talked about the days of buying the product, and I'd put my hand up now. It's a long time since I've bought a product because, like so many others, like nearly everybody, I'm streaming now, James. This is a time when you think about putting a bit of money back into the industry.
Oh my God! You're talking about Debenhams. You're going to be talking about the kind of the second-hand 7-inch section at Woolworths and our price. You're going to be talking about all those places where we used to buy our records from, but we'll just age ourselves.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I mean, I still kind of vote with my with my wallet when it comes to buying records. You know, I go and buy the record, but I'm of a different generation, so I don't really want to get into that battle about whether you stream or whether you buy the physical product. It would be, you know, obviously we've got some record shops here in Wales and in Cardiff that we want people to keep using, Spillers and HMV, obviously a case in point, and it's the same around Wales too. Hopefully we can all re-engage and become the people we were before coronavirus and before lockdown. And that's one of the big questions. You know, will it change our habits forever? Will it change us as people? It's yet to be seen, isn't it?
Well, it is, and this is the ongoing discussion as to whether we come out of it having found new ways of doing things which aren't necessarily for the greater good. Whether we go back to how we were before it all happened, or whether we come out of it better and more empathetic and valuing, as you say, the small things, James. And I don't know about you. I'm not necessarily sure that we will. It's all well and good people saying that. Do you think we will? Is there a chance to build a better world out of this?
Oh my God, Jesus! These are some of the biggest questions I've been asked since I sat my A levels at 9 o'clock.
Well, that's my job done. If that's the case, but it's just a feeling of whether you go through this. It's a shock, isn't it? We've all had a shock over the past 12 months, and I don't know how that affects you.
I think things will remain. I think, once things hopefully go back to normal, it'll be like a sieve, won't it? Like, some people will have been left with a profound experience that will which will carry through to kind of post coronavirus and post lockdown. And I think, I have a lot of friends and personally in my family where it's definitely changed our perspective on things. And I think, that way to perhaps alter our behavior will remain, whether it be kind of like, the way we do our shopping or the way we interact with each other, and how much I'd call friends that I kind of didn't talk to as much, whether it be trying to stay a bit fitter, whether it be kind of just using local amenities a bit more, because kind of you become aware of the freedom of movement is kind of comes with some kind of implication. All those things are definitely in my head all the time. Whether kind of suddenly that'll just float away because freedom kind of is some kind of illusion that makes you act more responsibly, I don't know. Yeah. Very, very philosophical. All about.
I know. All it really boils down to is that you will never take a pint in the pub for granted ever again.
I think that's the one thing that probably people are desperate to do. A lot of people know anyway. Yeah. And I am desperate to go and watch, Cardiff Blues or Wales, kind of like play cricket. And I know that, the companion of that is having some drinks, in places that I always go to. And I think, people will get back into that habit quite easily, I think.
Yeah, and live music too, and looking forward to those shows as well. Not long now until Motorpoint Arena in Cardiff in July. We'll look forward to those. We'll talk again, I hope. Thank you very much, James Dean Bradfield. Thank you. From Manic Street Preachers on the new album out in September, and the new single Orwellian, which you can go out and buy from today.